My name is Marc Apter, and I'm an Associate Media Director here at Cardinal Digital Marketing, and welcome to How to Control Pmax to Reach the Right Audience. Today, we are going to talk about what is Performance Max, when to use Performance Max campaigns, or as we digital marketers like to call it, Pmax. We'll also talk about how Performance Max has evolved in the 3 years since it's been rolled out, as well as considerations you should weigh when launching Performance Max campaigns. Before we review a few case studies of successful PMax campaigns that we've run here at Cardinal Digital Marketing. And finally, we'll cap the session off with a Q&A. If there are any questions among the group, please use that chat. So what is Performance Max? Performance Max is it's a tool that PPC marketers use to capture the full marketing funnel through the management of one singular campaign. Performance Max should not replace your existing search engine marketing campaigns, but should actually complement it. We should think of Performance Max as a two-pronged approach to digital marketing. And what I mean by that is typically search is a pull medium. A patient or a customer is going to Google searching for information, and advertisers are trying to serve those users' queries with relevant information. Performance Max not only serves as a pull mechanism, but also can work as a push medium as well. Google's been able to pair their artificial intelligence and their ad inventory to allow marketers to push relevant messaging across display ads, Gmail, and YouTube, which are platforms where users may not actively be seeking out the particular information, but can still be served relevant ads to generate conversions. The ultimate use case of leveraging Pmax should be to help expand your reach effectively and efficiently across the full marketing funnel while leveraging various placements, optimizing towards one campaign goal. So when should we use Performance Max? Performance Max campaigns work best when you want to gain additional reach and conversion value beyond your keyword-based search campaigns. Next, you want to ensure that you have specific conversion goals. And not only should you have specific conversion goals, you should also have qualified conversion actions to measure these successes. Think of online booking or calls to your practice. Additionally, you don't want to be limited by which channel your ads can appear on. You're going to want full coverage since this is a campaign that targets the full funnel in multiple platforms within the Google advertising suite. One caveat to keep in mind is Performance Max does need 60 conversions within 30 days at a campaign level to work effectively. So, how has Performance Max evolved? When Performance Max launched in 2021, a lot of marketers and advertisers were weary of the efficacy of this new campaign type, given a lot of the insights were hidden behind Google's black box. But over the last few years, Google has heard the complaints of our marketers and has improved the transparency and given us marketers more levers to help optimize these campaigns. Some of the features that have been rolled out recently include brand exclusion lists. So initially, when Performance Max did roll out, what we found as marketers was it was eating a lot of the branded search volume throughout the regular search campaigns. And there was no way that a branded search campaign and a Performance Max campaign could really coexist. So after voicing our frustrations with this, Google finally allowed us to add brand exclusions. By adding your brand to the brand exclusions within the Performance Max campaign settings, you can minimize the effect that Performance Max has on your brand campaigns, and you're actually excluding your Performance Max from serving on brand-related queries or placements. This ultimately allows you to use Performance Max as more of a prospecting, non-branding tool to help expand that reach like I've mentioned earlier. Another key feature that has rolled out recently for Performance Max is actually on the reporting side. Performance Max now allows you to pull a placement report. You can see this in the report editor within the Google Ads interface. And by leveraging this report, you can see placements that Performance Max has served and maybe not driven any conversions. And so in this case, if you see that you are serving in placements that haven't driven conversions or that just don't align with your brand, you can add these placements as account level exclusions so you will no longer serve ads or waste your spend in these poor placements. Some other considerations to take in effect and leverage with Performance Max are also a lot of the settings that they've recently added within these campaigns. You'll want to be sure to utilize these following settings in your asset groups to optimize your next Performance Max campaign. These considerations and settings that we have at our disposal include custom interest segments. So this is a really cool feature that we use here at Cardinal Digital Marketing, and this allows you to build custom audience segments based off people who browse similar websites or use similar apps. Think of this as a way to conquest competitors, and you can simply type in your competitor's website and make sure that your Performance Max campaign is working in tandem with your conquesting search campaigns to reach these users who are actively seeking out similar website properties to your competitors that you've called out. Additionally, you can also include in your targeting in-market audiences. What this means is you can target prospecting customers that are interested in purchasing related products and have shown Google that intent, and Google will allow you to actually target people in market for these purchases. Think of buying a house or purchasing a pet. These are at your disposal and your fingertips within the Pmax campaign settings. Talking about moving into houses, you can also target that through life events. So you can actually target customers who have recently got married, moved, or even retired and add that to your targeting repertoire within your Performance Max campaign. You can also target people solely based on demographics. So whether that is marital status, education, or employment, all of these are levers that we can pull on as marketers while launching and running Performance Max campaigns. Next, you can actually add affinity audiences. So you can target people grouped on their habits or preferences that Google has identified on their back end. It's really cool. You can actually see what your Google profile is on the back end, but we can save that for another conversation. And like I mentioned before, you can also target purely based on demographics, which is something we can also do within our search campaigns. So we're no strangers to being able to target by age, gender, parental status, or even household income. Some other Performance Max considerations to include when building out your Performance Max campaigns are listed right here. First and foremost, I think this is the most powerful one, and you should not be launching a Performance Max campaign without leveraging search themes. What search themes essentially allow you to do is include words or phrases that people use when searching for your product or services. Different themes should be assigned to different asset groups. This is a best practice when setting up your Performance Max campaign, and you want to make sure that each asset group has some search themes tied to it to make sure that you are properly aligning the structure of your Performance Max campaign. You can actually include up to 100 different asset groups within your Pmax campaigns. Another setting within Performance Max is automatically created assets. Google can leverage their own artificial intelligence and build, enhance, and generate your assets by customizing your text, video, or your final URLs. Speaking of this leads me to my next setting, which is final URL expansion. In order to use the final URL expansion, you need to have automatically created assets turned on. And in doing so, pairing with your final URL expansion, this will allow Google to send traffic to more relevant pages within your campaign as opposed to just one singular URL that you may have outlined already. Think of this as the old school Google dynamic ad. This will allow you to essentially go forward from any landing page within your website and leverage that for your Pmax. The next setting is store locations. And you actually need to tag your store locations and make sure you are implementing them at the campaign level to unlock the Google Maps placements within the full funnel strategy of Pmax. So this is a particularly strong setting that we can tie in here that enables us to actually unlock that inventory and show within the Google Maps platform. The next setting in consideration will be value rules. Performance Max allows marketers to create rules that adjust the conversion values based off location, device, or audience segments. If you have a key market that is way more valuable to you than the rest of your business as usual marketing, you'll want to make sure you're implementing value rules here. One caveat with this is you must be using value-based bidding to utilize this feature. So if you are on maximize conversions, or you will not be able to unlock this feature, but you will need to be on some sort of value-based bidding, whether that is target CPA or if you're trying to get your revenue in there. Next, conversion goals. Conversion goals can either be account or campaign level when it comes to Performance Max. When launching a new Performance Max campaign, you want to choose your conversion goal wisely. As I've mentioned earlier in the presentation, each Performance Max campaign needs at least 60 conversions per 30 days to make sure it's running optimally. So make sure you're feeding the algorithm the right conversions and you're setting it up to ensure you're getting the volume there to allow it to fire on all cylinders. Next, we'll be talking about a few case studies here that we've actually seen a lot of success with at Cardinal Digital Marketing. The first one here is one that we've actually run for a dental group. And you can see here in the first line item that we are able to conquest competitors using search themes while also pairing that with audience signals of people that have browsed similar sites to one of our competitors. We were able to actually draw a very strong cost per lead and a very high conversion rate that over-indexed against traditional search campaigns by having our Pmax campaign conquesting not only the competitors, but by feeding it more data points and adding these search themes in here. This allowed the Performance Max campaign to really start firing on all cylinders. And as I mentioned before, you can have multiple asset groups within one Performance Max campaign. So as we look at this full Performance Max performance here, we can see that we are able to conquest an additional competitor through a second asset group, as well as adding search themes for different service lines. We saw extremely strong CPLs on both fronts from a competitor standpoint, as well as adding the search themes there from a non-brand perspective. Another case study where we saw really strong performance here at Cardinal Digital Marketing is when we were able to leverage Performance Max for a geo-fencing strategy within a behavioral health client with multiple locations in a very competitive market. So what we did here is we put a radius targeting around our competitor clinics, and we were able to drive 3 leads within 1 month with a lower cost per lead than our traditional search campaigns. These might be customers or patients that you are not able to unlock from traditional search campaigns, but by leveraging Performance Max and conquesting competitors through radius targeting and a geofencing strategy here, we were actually able to draw 3 incremental leads, again, at a very cost-effective cost per lead. So unlocking Performance Max does have a lot of potential if you are using it in a smart, strategic way. That concludes my presentation here on Performance Max. If there are any questions, we can take them now and answer them. So I see a question that came through here. What is the minimum period to keep a Performance Max campaign and able to do a test? I would say that there really is not a minimum period here. We just want to ensure that we are seeing conversion volume start to trickle in here. But since we are talking about learning periods within Performance Max, it is very crucial to know that Performance Max do not operate like traditional search campaigns. So one of our, big qualms here with being in digital marketing and having search campaigns is entering and re-entering the learning phases when we're making small changes, whether it's to targeting, ads, or keywords. When it comes to Performance Max, we actually do not have that issue with entering and re-entering the learning phase. So one great feature about Performance Max that we can use is we can continually test and optimize these campaigns without resetting the campaign into a learning phase. So we want to make sure that we are leveraging Performance Max and using all the tools within our kit here to try and test and learn as much as possible within the Performance Max space. High level, another question that came through is, why is there so much controversy and uncertainty around Performance Max? This is a great question, and it honestly, in my opinion, stems back to when Performance Max rolled out 3 years ago. Performance Max initially was very black box, and all of those features, for the most part, that I just went through in our presentation were not available day one. And so what was happening was Google, as we know, they could be very salesy and pitchy, and they were pitching that all advertisers should run Performance Max to unlock a full funnel strategy. And what we found was Performance Max was actually cannibalizing a lot of our paid search campaigns. And Google actually heard a lot of our complaints as digital marketers, and over the last 3 years, they have refined Performance Max to be a great tool that we can utilize and leverage from digital marketing. Nowadays, if you have an exact match keyword in your paid search campaigns, that will take priority over any search themes that you've included in your Performance Max that may be the same keyword. So by doing that and adding the brand exclusions, we are now not fully cannibalizing all of our paid search campaign success by running Pmax. And we can actually run these two campaigns separately and in tandem with each other. So they are working in harmony and not against each other.